Welcome to our podcast. Fun fact, we actually shot 2 episodes before this. Last semester was just for Enye Escucha, but we have now rebranded to Enye, so we are really excited to be launching Enye Escucha. And today I have my 2 co-hosts, amazing best friends in the entire world. This is Naoki Jima, who also is a podcast host or co-host, I should say, for Teed Up.
Yep. Come on.
We love our Teed Up members. And this is Mike Reza, who is also a podcaster and LA/OC.
What's up, guys?
Photographer.
Woo,
And
legend.
we're
happy.
so excited
Happy
to be here. And we can't wait to get this podcast going for the new and improved, rebranded Enye. We are so excited.
Yeah. I'm so hyped.
Yeah, the rebrand's been dope. I'm excited to see what comes out. We should talk about the magazine a little bit, maybe the launch party, maybe. We should talk about what that entails and get people excited for what's to come, to start at least.
Yeah, so when we come back from spring break, our first issue as Enye, formerly known as Dig en Espanol. Also, we won first place nationwide last semester for our cover, so shout out to the team that helped produce that. But the new issue, which is going to be themed New Beginnings, because we are rebranding to Enye, which we're really excited about. It's going to be coming out April 8th. The launch party will be April 10th in Spot F in front of the bookstore if you want to come by.
So be there.
Be there or be square. We're going to have so many fun things. Painting. It's going to be spring themed for spring into Enye, New Beginnings.
That's right.
Yeah, it's definitely a vibe. And last year attending and helping out, it was pretty cool. A lot of people showed up, a lot of support. I'm excited. I'm excited to start this podcast with y'all. Enye Escucha. So the reason why we've recorded a couple episodes is because we kind of didn't have a direction. We didn't want to be too newsy, so we kind of wanted to have a real conversation each and every other week, and have some guests on to talk about their experience with Latinidad and kind of how they feel about it, which gets me kind of into what we're going to be talking about today. How do you guys feel about the culture growing up? What was your experience? What was kind of your perspective on things growing up? For me, I moved around a lot, so I experienced different cultures a lot. I didn't really spend a lot of time with the Latin community to start. I think because of that, I kind of felt distant from it, which is great for this magazine. Joining last semester, I felt like it reignited kind of what my experience was with being Mexican, being part of the Latin community. And I love it because I kind of let it drift away and I was hanging out with other people, but it's nice to get back to your people and, try to, solve problems or help out with things in our community. So
For sure. What about you, Olivia?
Well, I grew up in Huntington Beach, so a lot of the times when I would go places, there wasn't really that many people that looked similar to me. In elementary school, though, there was like a few, but all of my friends, didn't really look like me. I had a few that had dark hair, but that was like pretty much it. So growing up, I really struggled with my identity. My last name is Weinstock, which is a German last name. So I would always be like, people would ask me, so what are you? And I'm like Jewish and German. And they're like, yeah, but what else are you? And I'm like, oh, Polish, Canadian, all these other things. And they're like, yeah, but what else? You have dark hair. And I'm like, oh, yeah, just a little bit Mexican. I would just push that side away from me for such a long time. I just didn't want to come to terms with it. And then as I got older, I realized, like, it's okay to embrace that side of me. And I should have never been ashamed of it in the first place. Just because I didn't grow up in a place where, it was to be looked upon. And, like, even though this is a weird thing, I feel like in a way, the Kardashians kind of change that perspective that you don't have to be this playboy little bunny. Like you can't have dark hair and still be like gorgeous. So in a way, like that kind of paved the way. I was like, oh, I actually look like, you know, people with dark hair, and like that's okay to be gorgeous and have dark hair. And same with upcoming like Latino or Latina actresses. You know, they're becoming more famous and popular and not just looked at as these little like maids and housewives in TV shows and movies. Like, you know, Sofia Vergara was talking about it a little bit in her press interviews for Griselda, and she was like, this is the first role I had where I actually played like a boss lady, like not just a dumb housewife. So it's really inspiring to kind of grow up and embrace all of that stuff. What about you?
I don't have the benefit of looking Latino, so like people see me and fair enough, right? I'm look like your average Japanese person, but I mean I'm a son of, you know, parents who grew up born and raised in Lima, Peru, and their parents were born and raised in Lima, Peru. So like they have, as much as we look like the way that we do, our roots are very much deep in South America. Peru is where my family's from, and in a lot of ways they instilled that sort of culture in me and my brothers. Even though like me and my brother, we grew up in America for the big majority of our lives, and we were born and raised in Japan. Like any logistical matter, we don't have any ties to Peru. We've only visited a handful of times. You know, we eat Peruvian food and we speak Spanish, but they very much sort of instilled that pride of being a Peruano. And, you know, like in World Cup, I root for Peru and I root for the Peruvian players, and listen to Peruvian musicians, and I root for other Peruvians as well. But I mean, I had the benefit of having parents that very much wanted to instill that culture within me and my family, and a lot of my family still lives in Peru, and we have family all around the world, and you know, all over America, Europe, you know, Australia, and our unifying tongue is Spanish. That's the language that unifies all of us together. Right. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. Anytime we see each other, it's like Spanish is the way that we communicate. And so, I mean, it's just, you know, for me, from what I'm hearing out of you guys is, you know, you were kind of brought up not through your own fault. You were just kind of surrounded by people that didn't look like you, and that you were very much so instilled in that culture that you kind of forgotten where your roots are. And I think for you, Olivia, I think you tried so hard to be like everybody else that looked like this certain way that you kind of wanted to kind of push away, because you know, like you said, they kept asking you and asking you and asking you. Then you said that you were Latino, like last after all these other things that you are. And so it is, to me, hearing all of that is extremely interesting, because I wear my Latino pride. I wear that on my sleeve. Like, you know what? I wear that like a badge of honor. And, you know, I mean, my parents will say like, well, I'm born and raised in Japan. I was raised here in America, but it's like, my love and sincerity and all of that for Peruvians and the Peruvian culture, like, still lies very deep within me. Like, the Peruvian national team, I'm looking right at you, bro. Please qualify for the World Cup. Please, pero por favor.
For real.
Like, come on.
But yeah, I see what you're saying, and that's dope. You mentioned that your family instilled that in you, the Peruvian, like the pride. And it's not that my family didn't. We still do all the Mexican traditions. Right. We do everything. It's just I feel my mom didn't really focus on, hey, he has to learn Spanish. I knew Spanish to a certain point. I still understand it better than I can speak it. Right. And I get a little like self-conscious when I speak around other people, because I know there's like a standard, or there's like an expectation when you speak to someone, especially when you go to Mexico and you try to speak Spanish, to, you know, to be fluent. And there's shame. There's a lot of people that'll shame you even to this day, or like I've been labeled no sabo kid, and that's like a huge, or like pocho gets thrown out there, which is like another like very serious thing that people don't like to be called. But I just don't think it's the thing that is most forward about me, and I'm kind of been working at blending and balancing that part of me with the other parts of me, which no other cultures I'm like hanging out with. I've hung out with every,
Right.
culture. So it's like, and I feel connected to those people as well.
What about you, Liv?
Yeah, I mean, it's just funny, like not funny, but like it's just weird that you've been called those types of things because like people didn't even like I grew up in a place where nobody spoke Spanish. Like I never like heard any of those types of things. And so like it's just crazy how the cultures are so different, yet you're like maybe 30-40 minutes away from me.
Right.
And like those types of things were never said to
Yeah,
me.
and that's the thing. Like, I grew up with my dad's side of the family being more Spanish-speaking, Latin-based. They're very, like, Rezas is, like, the thing. We're proud. We're from Durango. That's where Che Guevara is from. So it's like, what is it? I think Pancho Villa. And my mom's side are still very Latin, but my aunts and uncles did very well for themselves. So I experienced kind of, like, a little bit of Olivia's kind of side of the tracks per se. I enjoy some of the same things she does. But on the other hand, I have like the Chicano side that like lowrider shows was my thing, hip hop and oldies, and that's part of my personality too. And it's hard for me to be around other people who don't really understand that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm weird. I kind of have my foot in both boxes, I guess.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so funny to me because for me, like my entire life, like I grew up when I first moved here. I lived in Gardena, which has a pretty big Japanese Peruvian population, but a huge Mexican population. And I remember when I was first learning how to speak English here, they found when the other kids found out that I could speak Spanish, and I didn't really speak anything else. I spoke Japanese, but they were gonna try to speak to me in Japanese.
Yeah, Naoki speak more Spanish than me, man.
And me.
Yeah, it's crazy. He's
trilingual.
super fluent.
Yeah. And so it was crazy because the other kids, like the way that I was able to get along with people was through speaking Spanish, and the other kids kind of taking that initiative to teach this kid, because when you're a kid, like, to be able to teach somebody else something, it's like really big, right? Because then you like, oh, like I'm smart because I'm teaching somebody else something, right? Whether if it was like, teaching somebody like math or playing basketball, like to teach somebody else something is like a really big thing for other kids. So for them, it was like being able to help me learn English was like for them, like they took that very seriously, and I had a really big support group around me growing up in terms of my friends that wanted to teach me kind of the American ways, like what it's like to live here in America and experience all these different cultures. You know what I mean? Like things like basketball. Like it's just one thing, like one of the biggest sports that I love. I love the NBA. I love college basketball. Shout out March Madness.
Yep. Long Beach.
But I learned that I didn't know much about basketball till I moved here. I knew about soccer, because soccer is pretty big in Japan and in Peru too. Like it's a huge sport. So it was just like, like I get the same reactions now to this day when I speak Spanish. Sometimes I'll go down to Mexico to do some missionary work, and I'll go, help build homes and things like that. And when I speak to the natives in Spanish, they kind of look at me like, what? ¿Qué? Este chino me está hablando en español. ¿Qué está pasando? Like, and then I had to explain it, like, oh, no, mis padres son peruanos y nacieron en Peru. Okay. Then we started get to talking, like, because then they know the history. They know, like, there was a big Japanese migration in Central and Southern America during the Second World War and during the Gold Rush.
Yeah.
That's kind of where my lineage how far back my lineage goes, but it's been an extremely interesting experience, like how you said, like, taking this Enye class last semester kind of helped you re-tap into your roots. It's done kind of the same thing for me. Like it's kind of taught me to kind of give back and use the gifts that I've been given, and being bilingual and being able to speak fluent Spanish and interview sources in Spanish in the language that they're the most comfortable speaking in. It's been an amazing feeling, and being able to use that to kind of boost up my resume, because now I can go into different fields and stuff. It's been an amazing feeling.
Yeah, to kind of add off that a little bit, I think like we've all been able to kind of just go and be able to really tap into that side of our culture and ourselves, especially with Enye. Like, you've got to interview some really dope people. So have you.
Yep.
So have I. Like, it's just so inspiring, you know? Like, I never thought that I would get the chance to be able to interview any of the people that I got to interview.
Yeah.
I recently, for my profile piece, just interviewed Omar Ruiz. Shout out to Omar. He's amazing. But he literally was like the nicest, most amazing person ever. And he was like one of the very first people to be hired of like a Latino race on the NHL and NFL network
Sick.
ever. Of
Wow.
all time.
That's
and it's
amazing.
crazy that that has happened in our lifetime.
Yeah.
Like, it took all of these years for this to happen. And so everybody's story is so inspiring and so amazing.
Absolutely.
And I think we've just all really gotten the most amazing opportunities to be able to put our foot forward. And hopefully one day we'll be able to give back and
Yeah.
give our stories of how we did it. But I just think like every single person that I've interviewed was like, honestly, thank you for interviewing me.
Yeah.
Like, this, like, being able to tell you my story is what's getting me through life. And like, we are also paving way for the past and the future by documenting all of this stuff, interviewing all of these people, and hopefully one day we can come back.
Yeah, and that like kind of goes back to like representation, and maybe that's the reason why you and I kind of didn't ingratiate ourselves in the Latin community, because the people I know I was looking up to and following when I was a kid, not that they weren't Latinos. I come from the comedy world. I was following Adam Sandler and Jim Carrey and you know, Will Smith and the other black comedians of, you know, that were popular in the day. And yeah, there was like George Lopez and the Latin Kings of Comedy, and those were influences for sure. But yeah, I grew up watching hood movies, and you know, like that was kind of the environment. Not to say it was bad, but like I had family members who were like ex-gang members, so it's like that was kind of my upbringing. So I didn't want to be a part of that, so I don't think I gravitated towards it. You know, I went the other way. I kind of went the way of like, oh, let's be kind of more like, I don't know how to explain.
No,
you know?
yeah, I know what you're saying, and I can relate to that on another level too, because I think that is the reason why I went the route that I did, because I did have a lot of ex-gang members in my family as well too. There was like a huge, I really want to produce a movie on this. Sounds like a far-fetched dream, but I really do want to produce a movie on this one day.
Let's talk about it.
Manifesting right now.
That's right.
But yeah, I had an uncle that was written off as suicide, but he was murdered 1,000%. It's like a huge thing in my family. Ex-gang member involved in a certain gang in like Bellflower area that a lot of my family was involved in. He died very, very, very young. And so like that, knowing that story and that side of my family is also another reason why I was so reluctant to be proud of that, because I was like, wow, like I'd never want to go down that path. I never want to meet those people.
It's the stereotypes. You don't want to be like connected to a stereotypes, and that's it. As a young person, you kind of don't understand that. You pick a path, and you're kind of like, okay, I'm trying to go like as straight and narrow as possible. You know, we're not perfect, but just not wanting to be associated with that kind of stereotype. But now, like, I'm good with it. Like, I still go to lowrider shows. I'm still around those people. They are the nicest people. If you're cool, then they're cool. You know, so
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that maybe that's like a big part of why I didn't really get into too much of my Latin side. Not that I didn't, just not as hard, I guess, as I would have otherwise.
Yeah. It's really funny because, like, for me, like, I'm about as I'm the exact opposite of the stereotypical Asian that you would meet. Like, I just started relearning Japanese, like, recently. I hadn't been speaking it for like the big majority of my life since I moved here. The only thing that would be stereotypical about me is like my genetics, and also like I love Japanese food. But then like I don't watch anime. Like I don't, you know what I mean? Like I don't do any of the other stuff. And so like, I don't know. Like my parents have always told me like, you know, I'm Japanese Peruvian. Like I'm Japanese Peruvian American. You know, but like I for sure feel more not even proud of, but I feel more in line with other parts of my identity than others. I look like a Japanese person, and I root for Japan too. Like, you know, shout out Shohei Ohtani, but
Hell yeah.
like I think for me it's
Rip.
like I would go like maybe like America, Peru, Japan. Not that I'm ashamed of my Japanese roots, but it's just kind of like, throughout just in the circumstances that I've been surrounded with my whole life, like that's just kind of how it's fallen.
Yeah.
And I mean, like I had, we were talking earlier, like, I looked up to guys like Ichiro,
Yeah.
based on, I look up to guys now like Shohei Ohtani and, Yoshinobu Yamamoto who are killing it right now in the
Yeah.
MLB. And for me, like even then when they're successful, like I don't necessarily like feel like I'm connected in that way, but I'm like, dang, like
a sense of pride.
I feel like a sense of pride.
Yeah.
Like Japan has been doing really well at international duty, and I'm like, this is so sick. Like this is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't say that my family had any gang affiliation. We've been pretty straightforward for the most part. We did try to put us all on the right path, and they tried to stay out of trouble for the most part. But
It wasn't bad times. It was good times, man. We weren't out here doing crazy stuff. But
that's not what you said off
Wait,
camera.
you were involved?
no. I'm just saying in general. There wasn't like anything nefarious going on that I was witness or a part of.
Don't Google
For
Mike
sure.
Reza
No.
mugshot.
What?
Wait,
It's
what did
fake.
I say?
It's fake. It's
What
fake.
did I say? I said I didn't.
Mike was involved in a game.
Oh,
No,
jeez.
he was not.
Well, that's not gonna. Now I gotta cut this all out. But no. But what I do love about the reason we started this podcast, we kind of all look different, and we all come
sure.
from a different background.
Yeah.
But we all connect on things that we love, and
Yeah.
we're going through this thing together. So
Yeah.
It's been an amazing
Yeah.
journey. Like, even when we were at ACP recently, like the amount of the sense of gratitude and like pride that I felt for you guys, seeing you guys celebrate and win was like, it felt like my family just won something huge. It was huge. Like I was just kind of standing in the back, just kind of watching. I'm like, dang, that's crazy. Like we won first. Like they won first. Like that's crazy. Like
Yeah.
Likewise, man. You
Yeah.
got to speak at the thing, and you had a whole line of people interested to talk to you, which
That
I
was
mean-
awesome. And then we got to talk to some amazing
we did.
producers.
We did.
And just people in the industry who were willing to help and willing to talk to us. And it was just so one night we were up until 2 a.m. outside just talking about life and
Yeah.
getting down to the nitty gritty. But honestly, it's so amazing to see how far we've all come and how
For
we've
sure.
connected. And I'm so proud of not only just us, but everyone else.
100%.
I kept posting I'm so proud of everyone. I'm so proud of
Yeah.
everyone. It literally made me so emotional. I wanted to cry when we came
Yeah.
back. We literally won so many things.
Yeah.
Everybody. And we're all killing it.
Yeah.
We're the future and gonna
Yeah.
all make an impact. So we have to have each other's backs.
I
and
feel
talk
like,
about that.
like a big part of that success is because we're kind of giving up a bit of ourselves when we do our work. It's like we have such a sense of pride and such a sense of wanting to do something with our work that we wanted to bolster up the Latinx voices and the Latinx community. We want to do this so badly. We literally give up a part of ourselves to do this, and then we've been able to get recognized for the hard work that we put in, because it's not just work. It's this is a mission. It's
Right.
become a mission for us, and it's been an amazing process. For
Yeah.
and it's the first Enye issue, so it's we're the first. We set the tone, you know what I mean?
For
And
sure.
I'm pretty sure we have some great stories going in the print and definitely online. There's a ton. Gladly, we have a lot more students this year in the class.
Yeah.
and,
For sure.
dude.
It's gonna be
That
amazing.
ACP fired me up.
It did. It fired me up too.
It fired me up for you guys. I wanted
Yeah.
to ride for you guys. I was.
Oh, I know.
It sparked the idea for this.
for
so.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when we recorded. When this is a re-recording. When we recorded this the first time, we had a whole thing filled out. We had news headlines filled out, which we did end up talking about. But we had a 15-20 minute monologue of just us trauma dumping on each other on this table, and then we're like, let's try this again.
Yeah, let's get sad.
Scratch all of that. We're gonna
Yeah, and
we're gonna do it again.
We're gonna recognize greatness and shortcomings in the mainstream when it comes. With this a Latinx actor, musician, athlete, anybody that gets rewarded for something, we'll recognize it. If there's going to be any shortcomings of any kind, we'll recognize it, and we'll be voicing our opinions on that. And we'll also, I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about it. We want to be able to give you guys listening or you guys watching the platform to speak your mind and speak your truth and tell us your story for everybody to hear. That's a big part of what we did this show, is to tell stories.
Exactly. And that's really what we did at ACP. Also, if you don't know what ACP is, it's the Associated College Press Awards. And so basically select students go and accept and enter in these awards, and then judges of professional jobs and work in journalism vote on who is the best. And each category has a set number of like 1 through 3rd place, or 1st through, there was like 10th for some of them, nationwide. And also for the CCMAs, which is just California only, we all won some more amazing awards, which was awesome as well too. But it was really interesting to see when we showed the Dig en Español last semester issue, how some of the other colleges don't have diversity like we do. Some people were a little bit confused why we had it in English and Spanish. They didn't really understand, and we had to explain how our school is 40% Latinx community, so it's a huge thing, like what we are doing here, educating other schools, and just making sure that other people understand the concept and how important it is that we do what we do here.
Yeah, representation right there. Facts. They didn't realize. And it's crazy because even some of the schools from like Florida or whatever were kind of like, we don't get it. And it's just like, we have a huge Latin population. So it's important, like you said.
Yeah, extremely important.
You want to close out?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, are we going to close it out?
We're at
30 minutes. That's all.
We're at 30 minutes. I mean,
if you have any closing words, go for it.
Close us out.
Not at the moment, but like I said, we want to open it up to you guys to be able to come on our show and tell us your story and tell the people your story. I mean, we've had the honorable privilege to interview some great people for our own individual writing pieces. You're with Omar Ruiz, myself with Issa Silva. I mean, Issa Silva has become one of my closest friends, and he plays on our team here, and I view that guy like family, and we've gone out to eat multiple times, and he's been able to kind of open up more and more about his story and his family and things like that. And it's been an amazing relationship builder. This class has really enabled us to build relationship with meaningful people. And like I said, we want to give you guys that platform to be able to do that. And I mean, because not everybody's story is the same. Not everybody's story is the same. And like how mine differs from you, and then how yours differs from his. And, so it's like we want to be able to hear everybody's journey.
All of it to intertwine to one goal of being Latino, or
just have. You should never feel ashamed of where you're from or where your family's from. What's in your bloodstream and what courses through your veins. I was never really ashamed of it, but there have been times where I'm like, am I more American? But I'm Japanese by blood, but I have Peruvian born raised parents. I was like very confused. I was a very confused child. I'm still confused to this day. I don't even know what I am anymore. But
you're awesome.
We're all awesome.
Yeah.
And last thing, I just want to thank you guys for joining us on this first episode of Enye Escucha of the spring semester. I know we're a little bit late because we're in the midterm season, but we want to fit in as many of you guys as possible. Get you guys to tell you guys some stories. We want to have some big guests coming up very, very soon, so please stay tuned for that. We're gonna put this up on YouTube. Right? Spotify, Apple Music,
everything.
Or Apple Podcasts, everything. So please check us out, and see you guys on April 10th for the Enye launch party. Be there, or Olivia will square you up. And we'll be face painting, all a bunch of fun activities, and we'll catch y'all there.
Thank y'all.
Bye.
Hasta luego.
Ciao, ciao.